In all of my work, love is the central theme. Love is everything. It's very complex. Love encompasses pain, it encompasses anguish, it encompasses death, it encompasses all range of emotions. And through my work, I want to show that all of these extreme human conditions in which we experience love, death, afterlife, sexuality, violence, these things that overpower us, they're things that all across humanity we try to answer. Take these situations, it's sort of like a computer overload. You put something in your body, like a strong emotion or a situation, and sometimes you're not meant or not wired to be able to handle it, and you get an overload. For me, my way of learning to process these very complicated, very difficult emotional things that I think most human beings aren't meant to process is to create an altar. My work particularly is a way for me to create altars for myself and for the world. Paper has a certain property. We flip through it, we touch it. It has this connotation that allows us to go back into our childhood or many memories, and it explains this is how a story is meant to be read. Watercolor for me, in my technique, I wet the paper with just water first. It seeps into the paper, and right before it gets ready to dry, I apply pigment. And it spreads out like plasma. It flows, it's alive, it sometimes has a life of its own. And it creates a luminescence, and it's almost transparent. It allows the figures to have one place in this world and one foot in another, in the spiritual realm. As you can see here in the work, there's this fire, and it vibrates, it moves. When I was painting it, it really looked like fire, because fire has that quality of this instant moment where you can't see the fire represented in another way, and the water, the way it dried, was fantastic. The fire consumes the figure of Krishna, and as you look at his eyes are transitioning from the world that he's in into another world. Here, Lord Shiva, sort of angels are swooping in and taking him away from this danger. He's leaning, tiptoeing on the edge of this abyss. He's on a boat. He's ripping apart a heart that's connected to Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is falling. He's being enveloped by flames and being bitten and clawed at by tigers. It's this very energized moment where on pins and needles fighting the nails. And it's that moment that you can't divide from one side or the other. How it's turned out visually, it just vibrates in a way. It creates an infinity sign. It creates a balance. It creates all these sublime notions embedded within the visual work, and it becomes a pictorial way for like an axis mundi, a way for us to enter from earth to the heaven, a node, a portal. I had my first major show debut in February of 2010. It was covered in the New York Times, the Post, the Village Voice, and when I didn't expect this at all. As an artist, and you've been working for 10 years, and you're working towards this critical mass and this explosion, like things are going to happen for you, and you just hope that they do. You never know when they are, and for me, the only thing that I could do was just to make the work and just to get it out there. I didn't think the show would be so controversial. I didn't think that it would make ripples across the world. As an artist, I mean, that's great. That's what you hope for. You hope that your message can travel. It makes it possible that You're not just in your studio, you're not just in your apartment creating art for yourself and your few close patrons and followers, but that you actually have a worldwide impact. I actually set a legal precedent. There were nude entities as avatars of my sculpture in gallery, and there were a lot of objections to nudity. People still find it very controversial. And my work is much more than naked people beside sculpture. But at least on some level, somebody can come in and identify and begin a dialogue. And the more they investigate, the more they're going to understand and come to appreciate the work. In all of my work, love is the central theme. Love is everything. It's very complex. Love encompasses pain, it encompasses anguish, it encompasses death, it encompasses all range of emotions. And through my work, I want to show that all of these extreme human conditions in which we experience love, death, afterlife, sexuality, violence, these things that overpower us, they're things that all across humanity we try to answer. Love is everything. It's very complex.